I was trying to go to the Astoria to buy beer, and they wouldn't let me pay. I'm too metropolitan. They wouldn't let me pay with my iPhone. They were like, you can't pay.
Which place?
The Astoria.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, come on.
The Astoria wasn't interested. Is that everyone's mic's good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're all mic'd up here.
Who's flatlining there? Is that me?
Well, yeah, but that's for different reasons. I mean, you could probably crank his gain.
I'll turn Mike up.
We were a bit. Yeah, well, you were. I mean, you were doing some Bono stuff on that 58.
You guys are both doing the handheld Freddie Mercury now.
That's right.
Listen, I've always done it. I've always been.
This is an option.
Yeah.
We only have two.
Well, we've given you the kind of... We know that you're more professionally capable than us, so we've given you the 58, which is like, you know, Bono's mic. So we're not capable. We're more kind of Michael Jackson Thriller style singers.
Well, this is Bono, isn't it?
No, this is... SM7 is Michael Jackson.
Bono did this too.
Strictly 58, though.
Really?
Yeah. He feels himself. To quite a degree.
You know that guy Sam Evian? You know him?
Yeah, I always wondered why his name is that.
He's really, you'd like him.
Anagram
He's like
of
kind
naive.
of in the Cass school.
Yeah, you'd like him.
Really good guitar player.
Okay.
But I was watching, he did it's kind of cool actually. He did like a track breakdown of his new single, on his home studio board.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I did this. And he was like, played the vocal and it was like, the track playing. He was like, I always do it with bleed. No headphones.
Yeah,
straight.
Bono.
Yeah. But
Bono's
it sounded
style.
great. I guess it's cool to do it that way.
Yeah, it's Bono's style. I mean, it's like literally the most, the biggest songs of all time were recorded that way.
Biggest being Beautiful Day by U2.
Yeah, it's up there for sure. I mean, followed closely by every other U2 song.
Mike, which song... I'd like to give a big welcome to our oldest and dearest podcast friend, Big Mike Komaszczuk.
The originator, the OG. The kind of Robert Johnson of our podcast.
He is, yeah.
King of the Delta variant.
Maybe. Yeah. If it's here, we know where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is kind of more of a... Yeah, kind of... I don't know if I go Robert Johnson, maybe more of a kind
Robert Cray.
Yeah. Steve Vai.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Honestly, free association.
You're more of a Vai kind of...
Vai guy.
As far as a player, technically...
Way bigger into Vi than Satch.
That's what I mean. That's what I'd say, yeah.
I love that.
I guess those guys, I was asking Travis about, and I want to... Gentlemen, first of all, we're here with... Mike Komaszczuk, and to my right is James Bull.
And we're
James
listening
Younger.
to Impossible Way of Life.
And guys, let's talk blues.
Let's talk blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna try to figure out a way to tie in my weekend to ZZ Top because they're blues, but I realize ZZ Top plays the blues. They just don't sing the blues though.
Sure, interesting.
They don't. Why not?
Because they're like a party band.
They're kind of party.
I see.
They're kind of
they play the blues.
The songs
Yeah.
but they're not singing.
They're kind of skids. They're kind of skids. Yeah, they're kind of blues, like kind of too skiddy for blues.
Well, the songs are pretty amped. Like they're that
charged up.
Beer drinkers, hellraisers. Like they're not. Yeah. They don't really like whine about women losing a love or something.
They're not bummed out. They don't strike me as guys that are bummed out.
No, they're talking about cheap sunglasses and just like
pearl necklace, you know?
Yeah, exactly. More on the kind of trucker by choice, patriot energy. But like, definitely not MAGA dudes, because Billy Gibbons famously kicked some guys off his stage. Kicked an opener off his stage for MAGA and out wearing a MAGA hat. Was like, you're not fucking playing with us. You know? So they were just kind of more like keep on rocking,
they're
party
Texans.
blues. Yeah, exactly.
They're more about like make Texas great again.
Exactly. It's a different thing.
Not really.
No. It's a different thing. They're more kind of, exactly. Make Memphis great again. MMA.
Oh. Isn't that in Tennessee?
Sure, but it's all down
partial
there,
lineage.
right?
They'd probably be into a lot of
They had some Tennessee.
I think they
Roots.
might have
But
made Tres Hombres in Tennessee, in Memphis.
They did.
Yeah.
After Led Zeppelin 3, that's where they went there.
Yeah.
Where'd they record it?
Ardent
Studios.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The Big Star Studio.
Yeah.
That's where Big Star
Stax.
And that's where
Zep 3 had just come out, and they're like, we love that. We're going to go there and record our third album.
Ardent had all the latest technology.
Yeah,
that was
a
the
big.
thing. But Big Star, like they had at that, this would be about the same time, had their run of the place. They had the keys, and that's how they
73.
But when's number one record? 71 or something? 72. So Chilton had the keys, and he could just go in night or
Box
day
tops.
and just record. The Radio City was just pop in at 2 a.m. and keyed up.
Yeah,
getting key.
So keyed up that you're willing to use the pickup on the Strat that no one ever uses.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy though. It sounds
the
crazy.
Anti-polarity.
Try
pickup.
playing. You ever tried
Switch.
playing "Oh My Soul"? You know, the first tune on radio.
Yeah.
It's fucking. That's a tough guitar part, man. That kind of weird bridgy part.
Oh, later on.
Yeah.
I just always just do the intro.
Oh yeah. Man, I don't know. We knew that, but then the part when it goes to that other key bridge, Luke always talks about that. He's
Keyed
like,
up
I'm
bridge.
always pick up the guitar, try to do that. It's weird.
Yeah.
And to think Chilton's doing that, just kind of
Off the cuff.
it's like, well, no, just sort of like he's pretty blacked out. I think.
Yeah.
It was kind of his style.
Probably
Like,
doesn't remember.
he just show
He
up.
was already fucked up in Big Star.
Oh yeah, Chilton. Yeah, well, Radio City. That's when they started partying a lot. I think, and like going out to the bars and then showing up and recording.
Mike, you ever watch Rogan? Like talk on a microphone because you want to work on your technique.
Really?
Pal. Yeah, because you were just looking at Johnny like we could get you like an area mic or something.
put him in like an ISO?
Yeah, we could get you kind of a headset or something. But if you
I
want
might need it at this point.
Headset. I mean, that's my
Headset.
ideal.
Yeah, Madonna style.
Was I doing this?
yeah.
I'll work on it, guys. What have we got?
I don't give a shit. These guys listening to this, they fucking love it.
Yeah,
they
they
love
don't
it.
even-
They know this podcast's all about friendship, and if they don't, they better start figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now,
Exactly.
because it's not about blues. I'll tell you that much.
No, but I was just Mike when I was talking not about Satriani as a player or Vi. I was talking about you as a blues guitarist, and who I'm a big fan of. And I was saying you have more of a Steve vibe to me than like a Jimmy Page, more technical.
So
honestly,
you see Mike Moore as the kind of Steve vibe. Than
yeah,
Jimmy
he's
Page.
not.
Well, when I was 17, I locked myself in for a summer and tried to learn For the Love of God.
Okay.
And that was pretty much that's
a
when I
Steve
gave up.
Vai song?
That's when I
Presumably.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How'd it go? They call that shedding.
Yeah,
That's
woodshedding.
Woodshedding. Yeah.
Woodshedding.
Well, also Mike is kind of he's a tradesman.
That's
so
what the jazz, my Sean Drabbit, my buddies, whenever I get them,
Woodshedding.
he's like, yeah, just going to shed on the tunes a
Yeah.
bit for a while. Kind of jazz talk.
It's kind of jazz talk.
It didn't go well.
No.
But lately, why don't you tell our listeners about, I know lately you've been tabbing out some of Jerry's greatest solos. Or not tabbing out, maybe.
Well, there's a hope of a bunch of us having a cover band, and then everyone bailed. But I was tabbing out.
Some serious stuff.
The only way to be in a Grateful Dead cover band is to get COVID and use that as a press release, like the Dan Horn.
Have you heard that they're calling them the Grateful Spread?
Because they all.
Okay, what happened there?
We can laugh. We
Tell
can laugh
Mike all
because
about it.
Honestly, we can laugh because I truly believe this is going to be great for their careers.
I think it's huge promo.
It's no bad press. All press is good press.
You play a couple of shows.
They
in
played
Ojai.
a show in Santa Cruz, and the whole band got COVID, the Delta variant, and then half the crowd or something. And then there was a big news article came out that they started an outbreak in Santa Cruz, the band. And as Luke said, it's kind of like these guys are out there. Clapton and Van Morrison, they're talking about it. Shredder doing it.
Yeah.
They're playing. They're on the stage. No more lockdown.
You've seen like Ghostbusters, and they're always talking about you got to be careful when you cross swords, right? You can't cross those things. Other than Jerry, anyone who mixes Mixolydian with blues It's a dangerous game, and you can only imagine that these kinds of things are going to happen when someone does that.
Well, and it's dead. I don't know if any of you
Was that in, okay, hold on. Was that in the article?
the Grateful Spread?
Yeah.
No, I think Johnny
No, the
just got
words
that one.
Grateful Spread. Oh no!
Like,
what
kinda
happened
plays-
was Sam Blasucci texted me and said I was talking to him about it, and
Yeah.
he said, "Dude, Grateful Spread is a real thing. Like it's all over the internet or whatever."
The internet's much quicker than anyone can do.
But they're all gay, right? They're
Yeah, and
Everyone's fine.
I
Otherwise, we
texted
wouldn't be
Dan,
laughing.
and I think they're all recovering with their families and loved ones.
Young
and
brides.
They're beautiful young brides, and we wish them well. We love them.
Certainly, yeah. Surprised I haven't seen Maya mention it, say anything.
Yeah, actually, I meant to ask you because you sent me a video earlier, and it was like the video quality of it was like on par with my Zoom audio quality.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see it.
Oh.
So, but I see you were engaging with his live Instagram.
I might just set that up for an Instagram like kind of post.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to hear about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, yeah.
But, Mayor, yeah, I mean,
how's he telling this?
well,
he's in the Dead.
in the new Grateful Dead.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
He's the guitar player, Dead and Co.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's about
Which-
getting people into the stadium
is-
instead of outside in the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, and getting presumably women.
Young brides.
It's probably the same reason that Mike Love got John Stamos
Yeah,
in the
it's a
group.
similar thing, probably.
It's probably guys like Bob Weir and them are sort of like, we got to get what he considers
think
to
he's a
be
Dracula?
young hunk.
You think Weir is a Dracula? Like
No,
a
I
rock and
don't.
roll
I
Dracula?
can't say that.
Doesn't seem
No,
like
he's
it.
definitely not.
He might be tantric. I've seen
Well,
some of the workout regimes.
I
he's
swear
got.
to God, like what Dusty Hill died last week?
Yeah, they're back on the road.
They're already back on the road.
Back on the road already.
Elwood Francis is playing bass.
Yeah. Took him 2 days.
Yeah.
They're
That's a
ZZ
pretty
Topper out.
He's like,
Bluesy name.
you know what Dusty's last words were?
What?
He's like, give the bottom end to Elwood, and he'll
Nice.
take it to the top.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, rest in peace, Dusty. Yeah.
And this is kind of a crisis pod, an emergency pod. Because, Mike, you had to come on. You text Johnny, you said,
I was like, this has to happen.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
We need to do Tres Hombres.
Yeah,
Emergency
exactly.
meeting.
Yeah. And
I saw that they were on the road immediately, like literally 2 days after they were playing. Because he played
this
the first.
Elwood-
He played the first couple of shows of the tour, Dusty.
Elwood's probably the bluesiest name I've
It's
ever
up there,
first
for
name,
sure.
right? Because that's
Well, it's
also the
most
name
Texas name I can think
of
of.
Dan Aykroyd's in the Blues Brothers. His name's Elwood, right?
So that's pretty
Jake
bluesy.
and Elwood.
That's kind of the pinnacle.
I mean, that's
of
as
blues
bluesy
as
it gets. The Blues Brothers.
He was their guitar tech, so it was like a shoe-in.
Yeah, bass
Oh.
tech, guitar tech, both.
Both, probably.
Yeah,
You saw them at the PNE a couple
Great
years
as
ago.
fuck. You know, I want to say right now, they're like one of my favorite bands.
Uh-huh.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
And probably one of the best shows I've ever seen was them at the
The PNE. Well, I know
That's no hot take. I was just like, I'm
no, I
mesmerized.
can believe it.
we've seen some fantastic shows at that venue.
Why don't you
Doobie
just
Brothers,
go through some of the bands you've seen at the PNE?
Doobie
and
Brothers,
rank them.
great night. And famously, Mike had the famous line that night. You know, we took my nephew Spencer to the show,
Yeah.
and buying him beers. He was about
course.
15.
Yeah,
you know.
that's the way to do it.
And never forget, they were playing, and Mike in the middle between songs shouted out, "Pat Simmons is taking this band over."
He's back. Unfinished business.
Yeah, because he was, man.
He needs some dues, man. That guy was always a member.
Yeah,
Just never
unfinished
had the
business.
hits.
Well, didn't
So
he,
who won?
didn't
He's
he
got a
do
couple, but-
Blackwater?
That's his big one.
What was the
Yeah.
lineup? No McDonald, no Skunk.
No. Tom Johnson's back, and then they had the guy from
They had
Little Feet.
Ripping
Oh,
keyboard player.
okay.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
his
that-
last name's actually Payne. I remember.
Yeah. That's the thing about these old acts
Yeah.
is they get out on tour, and if they don't have the original, it ends up being a super group because they're
course.
like, who's the guy from Yes that's like just sitting at his
Little
house?
Feet-
Who's fucking left?
Little
Yeah.
Feet feel like kind of partial lineage to ZZ Top. Surely through Lowell George, there's a bit of a kind of bluesy, kind of slide party
see that.
band,
I could see it.
Texas energy there.
Doobies and them had a connection. That's why it was
Yeah.
so easy for the keyboard guy to come over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the keyboard guy, no easy task, was handling Michael McDonald's vocals.
Yeah.
On Taking It to the Streets.
Oh, they did. That's an early McDonald.
They didn't even dare touch What a Fool Believes.
No, because Taking It to the Streets is still like mid-70s.
Yeah.
You don't want to be fucking...
I wonder if they played... who was taking Skunk's riffs? Because
they stayed away from that. They didn't play anything off of like Minute by Minute.
No, they just stayed away. I mean, Skunk's too busy working
Tom
for NORAD.
Johnson's band.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, they were handling the riffs just fine.
Yeah. They have a percussion player. They must have had a percussion player up there.
Don't believe so.
The fucking best.
Oh, maybe.
The best actually is when I saw Chicago at the P&E.
Nice.
And they were charging $150 to go hang out with them in their tour bus.
And you paid it.
I needed that money for the
casino
color
casino
wheel.
games. The color wheel.
Yeah, that'll drain you.
I will. Did you see Hall & Oates?
It's got to be blue this time. It's got to be blue. It's a wheel that spins around with about 4 colors.
1 in 6 chance.
You literally throw cash on a fucking color. And it's like roulette, but for morons.
Yeah. Because roulette's
we
not
love
for
it.
morons.
And we love it.
Sounds like a great game.
Yeah.
It's about time the three of us went to the casino. I'll do it right now.
Yeah.
It's back open. Sophie's flush. She'll pay. Back her out. Let's go.
Well, if that's
I don't even know how it works.
I'm in. Sophie's paying?
Sure.
Fantastic.
I'm sure I'll ask her when I go for dinner after this.
Which she's presumably paying for as well.
100%. Yeah. Well, it's an impossible way of life.
Gotham Steakhouse or
something? I mean, I could have a jacket potato, I guess, if we went there. I don't know.
No, I wanted to say that I threw on Tres Hombres today.
I've heard it.
When I was driving around. Holy shit, it sounded good. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could believe it. I hadn't listened to it in a while. It just sounded great.
It's one of the best sounding records of all time.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean,
how do you not, you open an album with that? It just sounds amazing.
Waiting on the bus.
Waiting for the bus, yeah. It's got to be one of the top track ones. I feel like Robbie Robertson over here.
One time I was on acid.
You guys are the only ones who'll get that joke.
I was on acid at the beach. Well, at Cat Lake.
Yeah.
With Frankie. And me and him were playing, we were throwing a joint into the sand and then we couldn't find it because we were high.
Uh-huh.
And then he kind of Fear and Loathing style, what Johnny was just doing then was trying to catch a fly that was around his face.
Uh-huh.
And Frank was doing this, but I could see there was no fly. He was kind of full just tweaking out.
Yeah.
And I started laughing so much, and he looked at me and he was like, "You would not be fucking laughing if this was happening to you, man."
Wow.
It's fair enough. That's more kind of West Coast energy, I feel like. It's not Master of Sparks style partying. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a metal song.
What?
That album has got to be kind of...
Dude, they took blues and made it party music.
Yeah.
They amped it up.
But when you hear that, that's kind of roots of 80s metal and rock to me. Some of those riffs.
I watched that little band from Texas doc on Netflix this morning.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how open they were. They took a 3-year sabbatical. Frank had to go get clean, which was fucking awesome because he went through. He's like, yeah, I started doing drugs. The first big paycheck I got was $72,000, mid-70s.
Incredible.
And the guy in the background's like, and what'd you do with it? He's like, I did spend it all on drugs. But he's like, I started out, I shot LSD.
Nice. It's clean.
And then
This is Frank Beard?
Frank Beard. And then he's like, then I did pills, but that's obvious.
Good drummer.
Yeah.
We have to all the touring we did, pills were kind of thing.
Pain,
and then I started doing heroin just because I fucking loved it. And he's like, he could tell he still was wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He's probably been clean for probably 40 years. He's like, it's the best. He's like, it's just a fucking vacation from your mind.
Oh, no, imagine that.
As Luke once told me on the phone, he said, it must be pretty good. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, to risk it. It all.
Like
Must be
pedophilia. The classic
that's
Louis C.K. joke.
Right.
Yeah, it must be. People do these things,
That's probably more of a kind of a psychotic.
I know, it's the same world. All these guys, it's kind of a Wyman world. These guys got away with it, you know?
Yeah.
Billy Gibbons is a bit progressive, though, you know, in a kind of cool, you know, he wears that juju hat all the time. You know, he's got that mad juju hat on that he got from Cameroon or something, and he talks about it where he's like, you know, he always wears that weird hat.
Yeah, he went on a spiritual quest.
Yeah, he went on
exactly.
He goes to Cameroon or something. Some chief is like, you know, normally with these hats, so I'm paraphrasing here right now. You know, you have to learn how to make them if you're gonna wear one. But he went with a Texas cowboy hat, and they just traded up, and he comes back, no problem, with a juju hat that he wears all the time.
Frank went to rehab. Billy went on a spiritual quest. And Dusty worked at an airport.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
He worked in an airport?
Because he wanted to get grounded.
It's weird because you kind of normally go up in the air.
I kind of feel that energy. I'm like, yeah, you're on, you know, you're like, you got a bunch of hangers on.
Yeah.
Go work in an airport, change your name to Joe.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, he's just like, I'm Joe. Didn't tell anyone he was
Joe
in the band.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Remember when we listened to Billy Gibbons on What the Fuck with Mark Maron?
Yeah.
That other podcast. And
never heard of it.
It was so funny because you like you were talking about, you knew those guys liked to party, but Maron was really trying to get it out of him.
Well, that's all.
But he's a
that's
southern.
Just Maron,
he's
though,
yeah, it is. I can't wait to listen to the Lindsey Buckingham one because I feel like
Lindsey's an open book.
He's got some drug stories, I think. But yeah, Gibbons was just a straight up. He was like, Maron would kind of be like, yeah, so I guess you're probably doing a lot of coke back then, huh? When you and he's like, well, you know, we had a pretty good time.
Adult dose.
Yeah,
we took a few left turns.
Yeah, it was that kind of language. Oh, yeah. I liked it. And Maron was like, give me the fucking
Have you guys
details.
actually seen, I probably won't do this justice, but you know, what's that guy's name? Matthew Sweet. He's got that little noise YouTube podcast where he hangs out with famous guitar players.
No, but that sounds great.
No, Matthew Sweet, he was a recording artist.
I only know Jimmy Sweet. It's the only Sweet I really care about.
But he has a show and he hangs out with these guys. Hung out with Billy, and Billy's like 7 sheets to the wind, hanging out with Kid Rock.
Wow.
Up in Detroit, and this guy's trying to
they were friends for a bit. Sweet Home Alabama stuff.
Yeah, and you could tell he's trying to do this interview, and he's also like being a fanboy.
Yeah.
And Billy's just cut. He's drinking glasses of wine like that, you know.
I told you I saw him one time. Like I said this last week, I think. I played at Psych Fest one time when I was kind of like full eye wall, just session bass for a band, and he was playing. Like, what was his band? The Moving Sidewalks. Yeah. And it was like, obviously everyone was excited that the idea of him headlining, and Os Mutantes played, and it was like, but you know, like the only star, everyone else is just kind of normal, even if you're famous at a festival like that. And it was a really amazing experience, but like Billy Gibbons is next level, you know, he's Billy Gibbons, and it was pretty cool because
no doubt
he was there, and he was just being Billy Gibbons, and it's
you
really...
know when they named it that band, that Moving Sidewalks?
I don't know, LSD maybe or something.
They're going like that, and the other big band in Texas at the time was 13th Floor Elevators.
Oh, it's a kind. Oh, interesting.
So they're like, we'll go the other direction, get it covered.
There you go.
Got to hold this mic up again.
Listen,
you tell the story, then you go.
Listen, the editing on this one's gonna be immense.
I'm
I'll do
soused right now, guys,
I don't really want,
gentlemen.
I don't want you to think about it for a second because I'm a professional. I've been mixing all day. I'll find a way.
Amazing. He'll make you sound like fucking Barry White.
I'll make you sound like Barry White by the end of the night.
Barry Manilow.
Sure, if you want. Tony Bennett. It's his birthday today.
Yeah, 95.
Do you see Paul McCartney's Instagram post about it?
I did.
Bit weird.
It was weird.
Because he was
language was weird.
It was fine for a minute because he was like, I love you, Tony Bennett, and I love your son. Yeah, which was like, kind of unnecessary.
I want to wish Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do Paul. Because I love him. because I love him and he's 95
and I love his son. Which is a bit weird because his son would be his age.
Maybe his son like produced a Paul McCartney album or the Beatles, maybe
the whole Beatles.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. Tony
Did you
Bennett,
see this shit that fucking Peter Jackson?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Oh, vent, baby.
That he, well, you know, we're all getting ready for this doc. Some more than others, me. But the whole point was at the end of it was this Get Back documentary. Was they were gonna show the rooftop concert in its entirety.
Really struggling with this, aren't you?
Did I already mention this on the pod?
Yeah, no, you mentioned it to me off pod.
And then, though?
Okay, the original what?
I'm saying, was that the promise of this whole?
Yes, the whole thing was the whole rooftop concert is going to be shown finally, because in the original Let It Be documentary, they cut to the street and the cops running around and people being like, I don't think we should disrupt business in this neighborhood. And I'm like, meanwhile, George is playing the solo on One After 909.
Exactly.
And I'm like, could I get this footage, please? Yeah. So I'm like, great. They're going to just show the fucking shot of the band playing. And we're going to see it. And then Peter Jackson was like, when a press release recently said, I just want everybody to know this documentary isn't even about music.
Nice.
It's more about the relationships and the talking. He's like, take the rooftop concert, for example. We're not even going to focus on the band. We're cutting constantly between them and the street and the police. And I'm like, that's not an original
McCartney's
idea.
legacy. It's him. It's McCartney getting involved.
Maybe
it's McCartney stopping all this shit coming out.
Maybe he flubs like a bass part.
Exactly.
And he keeps being like, we can never show that.
No, he has he has a team of lawyers on it.
Yeah.
Of course it's that.
But he would never flub a bass part.
No, it's just that he doesn't want to be outshone by John Lennon at any point.
Yeah.
You know? Or George at that point, frankly.
Well, he did not care for that when George did All Things Must Pass and got all the good reviews that he wanted.
Yeah,
he's kind of Gollum.
There's an element in a way. Well, who's Gollum again? You figured it out.
I think
it's not Yoko. Phil Spector trying to get it back. The Ring,
which is music or something.
Yeah, and then Daniel Ek is. I'm over that one. We've done that one it's sort of done now.
The Lord of the Rings thing?
Yeah.
Well, when the doc comes out, we'll see if the tale tells.
Yeah, exactly.
If it seems like there's a lot of comparison between the trilogies.
Yeah, totally.
I just wanted to, because this might take up the entire rest of the pod, depending on how you guys respond to it.
Sure.
But I was kind of looking up, earlier, I was looking up, is Billy Gibbons technically a good lead guitarist?
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Because, we know he's good. But, a lot of people have interest in...
But he's in the kind of Brian May camp because he plays with like a nickel or something, right?
Yeah, and famously 7-gauge strings, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Doesn't he play 7?
When I saw him at the P&E, the one thing that struck me was how effortlessly he played. It was like economical playing. He was doing a lot of shit. Didn't look like he was doing a whole lot.
Yeah.
You kind of just like... It was amazing, but I watched an interview where he's like... B.B. King told him, like, why are you playing with 10s? You're working too hard.
I like that.
That's it, B.B. King. I read that. Yeah,
B.B. King's like, you're working too hard, kid. Like, and he played 8s, and Billy just took it further. He's like, go get 7s.
Amazing.
Wonder what Clapton plays.
Where I wound up in my Google search, interestingly,
about Billy Gibbons being a
was on the Rolling
player.
Stone 100 Greatest Guitarists.
Yeah, he's
page.
behind Cobain on it.
No, he's ahead of Cobain.
That's interesting.
He comes in interestingly at. Oh, now it took me about 20 minutes to.
How the fuck is Cobain
find
anywhere on the list?
To find him, Cobain. Whoa! Shots fired.
Wow.
A lot of people consider him a rockin' lead guitarist.
Yeah, all right.
But at least Billy Gibbons is ahead of the Edge on this list.
Well, Gibbons never found how to dot a 16th.
He comes in at number 32.
Okay.
Right after Prince.
I mean, that's fair.
He's right. I actually thought it was pretty good. Prince is 33. And then Gibbons 32, and then Ry Cooder 31.
It's good. They're all in good company, though.
They're all. I don't know.
I would love to know who's ahead of them. because
that's where we're
that's
getting.
like that's some good company right there.
So here we go. Elmore Leonard. Elmore. He's the writer. Elmore James.
Okay.
Old blues guy.
Yeah.
Is that just blues? I don't know what's
Scotty
going on there.
Moore. Elvis's guitar player.
See, this still
That's
feels
just
weird
kind of
now.
pitchforky, isn't it?
This is a bit of a pitchforky list.
Where's Ellen Holsworth?
I'm not gonna. I don't know.
Let's go through the whole list.
Johnny Ramone, 28.
Ugh,
That's gonna kill Mike.
fucking.
That's not bluesy at all. Hang on. Johnny Ramone is the head of Ry Cooder, Billy Gibbons.
It's not lead guitars, just guitarists.
Yeah. So it's
I'm not
also
defending it. I'm
is it
just
about
saying.
fashion too?
It's totally fashion. Is it Rolling Stone?
Yeah, this is Rolling Stone.
So it's not necessarily about it's not only about guitar playing. It's about like stage appearance. It's kind of like there's all the things
Everything.
to take into consideration here.
There's a pie chart.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I
it's
mean?
like,
Like a
well, it's kind of like
percentages of
it's
what-
like those magic cards you used to get, where it's like, fashion 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Never liked the
playing,
Ramones.
technical ability. Because like with Johnny Ramone, like low on technique, but high on fashion.
Yeah. I never loved the Ramones either.
You can't stand the Ramones.
I was more into television. Verlaine's on the list.
Yeah, but Verlaine would be the guitarist,
Verlaine's
punk
like
musician.
78.
Oh, he's below Ramone?
Way below, which is
After Marquee
insane.
Moon?
Insane to me.
I mean, some of that work on Days that he put in.
Oh, man.
Take me to the chop shop, basically, that guy.
27, Bo Diddley.
Sure. He has his own guitar and
He
stuff.
kind of
He
invented...
he created his own rhythm.
yeah, he has kind of a
You gotta
thing.
give him that.
26, Brian May.
I'm surprised because there's going to be power rankings if there's 25 guys ahead of these guys.
I'll tell you
Wow.
right now, most of the guys in my top 10 were in the 40s and 50s.
I'm really excited to see.
40s and... Well, I won't tell you.
No, I want to go through
let's
this.
roll with
We
this.
got about 25 minutes left. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 25, Tony Iommi.
Don't race through it. Okay, yeah, he's kind of got
Okay.
he's got problems with his fingers and stuff too, so he gets through.
Great, though.
Well, no, he's very good, but doesn't he have a kind of fucked up fingers?
Fingertips got burnt off or something.
It was a metal cutter at a factory, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a union man.
Oh, that was Django lost them in a fire.
yeah.
Django's got to be up there.
I'm not too sure.
Listen, Django's definitely above.
He's in the 90s.
He's probably
in the 90s.
91. No, probably.
Behind, like, I don't know, like Noel Gallagher or
Yeah.
something. You know, like,
Yeah, exactly.
who's at number 6?
Yeah.
Because he owns Rolling Stone magazine, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
24, we've got Angus Young.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, power.
Yeah.
In terms of, so that would be one of the sort of rankings. Just power.
Well, when it comes to just like
Riffs.
yeah, did he write the riffs or
His brother
his
who
brother
died.
write the riffs?
Another band
He
who just
wrote
went
them, right?
straight back on the road.
Actually, him and his brother wrote the material.
2 guitar
Even
attack.
the lyrics sometimes. Because after a while, they just told Brian Johnson, like, don't worry about the lyrics.
We got it.
We'll do it. And he was actually relieved.
Yeah, Mutt
like-
Lang might have had a little bit to do with that too. So Shania and me have been talking about it. Like, we got it covered.
Yeah, Mike, by the way, just recently watched the Pump making of Pump documentary. I told him,
So good.
I told him, go as we say. I said, go to the store,
Yeah.
get yourself a 6-pack.
At least 6.
At
With
least.
Mike, I'd say 12. Frankly,
Oh, yeah, at least, yeah. Well, not even just because it's so much fun, you know.
Well, exactly. Is Perry still to come in this list?
No, unfortunately for Joe, he's number 84. I took note.
He's 84.
84, Joe Perry.
Joe? Is Johnny Depp in the top 20?
Number 23 is a guy who would make my top 10.
Yeah.
Buddy Guy, who I love.
Yeah. He's pretty bluesy.
Love his playing. I just love his style.
I think he's
I got
pretty-
some
yeah.
records you'd love.
I've
Mike.
heard of him.
When he played with Junior Wells and those guys. But
I'd love to hear him with Josh Wells. Frankly.
that would rip.
That would be, honestly, that would be my cup of tea.
That'd be a sick band
Yeah.
for sure. 22, you'll like this, Frank Zappa.
Nah.
I thought you thought he was great on guitar.
He's in the militia, man. That guy is a psyop experiment. He's not even a real musician. He literally he's part of the original.
Like once a year, I'll get into like a week. I'll play him at work.
Yeah,
I'll get into it, and then I get exhausted.
You should see the kind of furniture cynical. This guy's pumping out when he's listening to Zappa. It's crazy stuff.
I've seen you've thrown on some YouTube videos that are pretty impressive.
Yeah, like I have once a year. I'll get into
his solos. His solos are pretty trademark, aren't they? I don't know anything about it. Never heard an album.
His hit list.
Never listened to an album.
Yeah, Moon Rats. I guess we can all pretend we've listened to that.
I don't know.
Just say you've listened to it. It's fine. It works.
Freak out.
At bars over the years, I've talked extensively about my experiences with that record. And it's worked really well.
He's too cynical.
He's a conservative. He's one of the original Gangs of New York style crime syndicate families of Laurel Canyon.
Right.
He was there first. His dad started the Vietnam War.
That's right. Of course. I forgot that.
You know about this, Mike. You were at Guys and Dolls that night.
Yeah, he wasn't there actually.
When they they barricaded us all in and said, "We got something to tell you guys. We see you guys are listening to CSNY."
Those guys around
Kelsey
and the other locals there who
now we're warming up here.
The older crowd that used to hang out there and drink. You know the guys.
Gulf of Tonkin.
They would be really into this, like how Jim Morrison and these guys' parents were high-ranking military officials.
Langley, Virginia.
And that let's just say this.
Did they hint at anything with Zappa?
Zappa, Morrison, John Phillips.
Yeah.
Let's just say the piece of paper came out and Kelsey was writing me down names of books including Chaos and these ones.
Of course.
That were like,
You're gonna
he was
need
like,
to read
and at first I was laughing. You know, it's sort of like
that's always the reaction we have when we know some. It's kind of like if someone told you the Matrix was real, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
But then you're like, at some point, we're gonna have to have a full and frank, serious conversation. About this.
It's like Kelsey was like,
wait till they tell you that fucking ice hockey's fake, and it's you know what I mean. It's that kind of thing where you're like, all the culture I even understand.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, no, it's not. And then you realize it is, and it's like mass suicides. Because when you find out that the whole of classic rock music is a psyop experiment, what are you going to do?
Well, Kelsey, exactly. I was laughing and looking at him. And then, Mike, you'd love this. It's like, there's the other guy at the bar over here, like, from where I'm standing looking at Kelsey, and I'm sort of laughing. I'm like, yeah, but what are you trying to say? That they were in on this military operation to try to thwart the peace and love movement 100%. That was happening in the 60s. But Jim Morrison and these guys, to distract the youth from what was happening. That's crazy. And this guy over at the bar, like, he's like, look, you kind of like, it's all true.
Yeah.
He just like chimed in, he's like, everything Kelsey's telling you right now is true.
And you couldn't see fucking burnout.
Yeah, and he's like, and you best take note.
Yeah.
You best take note.
And then he walked out, threw a cigarette back in, blew the whole place up.
Yeah.
Kind of Kaiser Sose style. All we know is he referred to himself as Deep Throat through one of the other guys in the bar.
Exactly.
But we can't be sure who it was.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand on that issue for sure, 100%.
Well, I'm still on the fence, but I'm learning a lot every week.
So what are we at, like the top 20 now?
Yeah, we're at...
Let's do this real slow. We got about a minute per guy.
Sounds great. Oh, no, I think we might have missed a... Yeah, Chet Atkins, 21.
Sure, why not? I've heard of him. Did anyone know anything he did?
Technically great.
Chet? What did Chet do?
He was a very talented guitarist.
Very
I guess.
Good. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you've used that line before.
He produced a lot of music in Nashville, a lot of country music.
Okay,
he's actually the guy. That's a good point.
The Nashville sound.
He's the guy responsible for the Nashville sound, which everyone hated. And went to Austin for.
To get that Willie and Waylon vibe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He also, one thing I love about Chet Atkins is he taught Lenny Bro to play guitar, didn't he? And
no, they played together.
Oh, I thought he went down and sort of studied with him.
Studied.
Anyway, don't quote me on that. This is not a jazz podcast.
Is Chet a jazz guy?
Yeah.
I thought this was a blues podcast. What are we doing jazz for? Is McLaughlin in here?
Yep.
He's coming up.
No, but he's on the list. I saw him.
He's in the
'60s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's on there.
Well, no, he played in the '60s. Where is he on the list?
Speaking of McLaughlin, Partial Lineage here, they made an album together. Number 20, Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
That guy'd be in the 80s for me.
Yeah.
Like you like his 80s work better than his 60s work?
Pretty much.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know,
didn't he do a record with Mahavishnu, or is it just McLaughlin?
It's just McLaughlin. Desire, I think.
Aren't they kind of just in white kind of suits?
Yeah,
white.
It's actually it's very cool.
Yeah,
the record's kind of.
I
cool.
like McLaughlin's record Devotion a lot.
Maybe that's the one.
No, that's the solo psych record he did.
Oh,
full psych. Lot of different rhythms on it.
I think. Santana, he did kind of similar to who we were talking about with Aerosmith. He kind of took off again in the '90s when he hooked up with Rob Thomas.
Well, he was some major players for sure. Yeah. Michelle Brown,
Nelly Furtado,
probably.
Everlast.
Yeah. I guess him and Angus Young both big SG players, which is a major kind of soloing device.
I think Billy Gibbons also dabbled in the SG. Did he not? More of a
Telly guy?
No,
Gretsch.
No. He was a
Gretsch.
Les Paul guy.
Gretsch, too, I think. Early days.
He has does he play the Telecaster bass, maybe?
I think you might be right there.
Yeah.
They had a lot of different guitars.
I don't know.
Before you go any further, I just want to kind of set the scene.
I'm sure he might have, but
I want to set the scene a little bit here. I'm just sat in the studio, Johnny's studio, and I've got right here next to me while we're talking about these guitarists is a Marshall kind of valve state kind of 25-watt combo amp, and I've been having a real nice time with this kind of push and pull gain device, which will make you sound like anyone who's ever played. It's basically like you think about some of those more expensive Marshall amps. On a budget, this will take you where you need to go. I can just up and down with this thing. And this is like basically the Jimmy Page button. When you pull out the gain switch, the toggle switch, you barely need to work on your tone.
Well, thank you for saying that, James. And I'd just like to say that echo kind of what you're saying. And for all of our listeners who have access to Long McQuaid rental, if they have an account. Yeah. One of my top rentals was actually a little Marshall combo that they made that had just that same sort of gain switch. And
presumably,
let me tell you, it packed a punch.
This is before you realized you could rent a Line 6 Spider that can do it all.
Or buy. I mean, I was between amps and I was experimenting, and then I discovered the Spider, was between amps. That's kind of a funny thing.
Yeah, you were between amps, but it was mostly because of the
amps.
Well, the issue. I mean, I think
some people stay on the Spider for a lifetime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all you have to do is push a button, Prince.
I think
there's presets.
Yeah, Geddy Lee is one of the presets. I think
if you want to play bass,
it's fine. I think one of the issues with this Marshall valve state is primarily the fact that it doesn't have a kind of onboard computer with digital presets kind of ready to rock.
Issue with all people call them vintage. I call them antiquated.
Yeah,
amps.
Exactly.
Yeah. But they don't have that.
I don't want to also
get with the new way.
I don't also want to get a kind of dotted 16th pedal when I can do it on board.
Well, dude, honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I don't even use amps anymore. With all these amazing Logic amp simulators.
You've seen the work that Steve Jobs has been doing?
Steve Jobs has been doing. I mean, you can just set with a click of a mouse. Yeah.
Liverpool Crunch.
You know what I mean? Taxman solo. I mean, it's easy.
Taxman.
And it sounds exactly the same. So...
Well, tests have been done, blind tests, kind of like the old ones when we were growing up, because we're kind of getting on. Kind of... Pepsi Cola tests, it was like the blind test where it's like people couldn't tell the difference. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly the same. Yeah. If you think of Pepsi and Cola, think of kind of Marshall Valve State V Line 6 Spider. It's a really similar conundrum.
I like to be able to toggle between with a mouse. So I don't like to, have to move it around as well.
It's all about kind of maximizing your efficiency at this point.
I mean, I haven't been on tour in a couple years because of the pandemic. Yeah. But I know when I'm going out, there will be no amp involved. I'll have a laptop on stage.
Vaccine or not, I'll be out there. Personally.
And just if the in-house sound man or a woman can't handle what I'm doing.
Or the fact that I'm not wearing a mask and I'm coughing all over everyone. Either way.
I'm heading out this fall, a laptop and a PRS. And if they can't
I'm playing blues.
If they can't handle what I'm fucking bringing to the stage every single night, then I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, get a new job because I'll do the sound myself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'll say. If you can't do your job, I'll get behind the board and do it for you. That's what I always say, right, Mike?
You've said that a lot.
Yeah.
I've heard you. It's so true. I've heard you say that to people before. For
Number
sure.
19, James Burton.
I thought you were going to say me then. I was like, that's not a bad showing.
That's pretty good within the top
James
20.
Burton. Okay.
Yeah.
James Burton. I like what he did.
What's James Burton up to?
He played in Elvis's band as well.
Okay.
But
so
also,
Ricky Nelson.
Ricky Nelson. He did a lot of... He also played on Graham Parsons records.
Yeah, he wrote the riff to Susie Q.
That's a big one.
That's a big riff.
It wouldn't be...
Key tracks. Hello, Mary Lou, Susie Q, Believe What You Say. Don't know Believe What You Say.
Chicken Pickin', he kind of created that.
Okay. B-bending?
That was...
I think that's our
next... Let's not get into
our...
that one because... It's more of a Gene Parsons.
No one knows who these people are.
It took me like a few seconds. I'm like, Gene Grandpart?
Now I'm confused.
Gene Clark?
Because I thought we were talking about Graham Parsons.
I thought we were talking about Billy
Gene Parsons created the B-bender.
Gene Parsons did?
Yeah. He was like he was a machinist.
Number 18, guy who created a few things in his day, Les Paul, including the electric fucking guitar.
Yeah. More famously known and more usually known as Steve Miller's godfather.
Right.
Yeah, which explains why Steve Miller was such a...
is not on this list.
Steve's not making it.
He's not. He didn't make it.
He's
Top
more like
100.
the 70s Mac DeMarco.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Just the ways in which he kind of... I think that's a positive.
It is.
I'm a big fan.
He creates.
He kind of created stuff on an 8-track. He does his own thing.
Oh, I feel you. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Luke just sent us a text. It's a video of ABBA doing Chiquitita.
It's a good song.
Don't know why, but I'll check into that later. Great song.
Yeah.
We got here. We're on to number 17. One we know and love, Neil Young.
Yeah.
Probably my number
Godfather
one.
of grunge.
I'll take 17.
I'm looking forward to seeing who's above him. Is Kanye above him?
Guitar?
Yeah, fuck
Didn't
it,
know
why
he
not?
played.
I'm sure he does on this episode.
This is pretty recent list, I think, too. I could be wrong.
What did they say are Neil
Within
Young's
5
key
years.
tracks? Cortez?
Here's what the write-up is. If I was ever going to teach a master class to young guitarists, the first thing I would play them is the first minute of Neil Young's original Down by the River solo.
Okay. I was thinking Cinnamon Girl.
It's
single
one note,
stuff.
but it's so melodic, and it snarls with attitude and anger.
Who's this guy, Ryan? Is he a guy from Vampire Weekend or
Doesn't
something?
say. Oh, actually, it's worth noting that the people voting on this are all also guitar players, like Tom Morello, etc.
Is Tom Morello in the top 15?
Well,
presumably.
probably, yeah.
Voted for himself.
Key tracks, Down by the River and Mr. Soul. Weird pick.
Bit weird.
Mr. Soul, I'd say. I would say Like a Hurricane.
I guess it's a
maybe.
riff. Down, Mr. Soul's
It's a Rolling
riff.
Stones riff called
it's
Satisfaction.
That's cool. Okay, now we're getting into the real kind of nitty gritty of this pod. This is exactly what this podcast is all about. This is going to get contentious.
Now this is going to get really good because number 16 with a bullet right above Neil Young,
Joni.
Mr. Derek Trucks.
Well, I mean,
Wow,
Mike's
really?
going to agree.
Yeah, you're
Mike
a
loves
trucks guy? You're a trucker.
He's a hell of a slide player.
There you go.
I don't know about 16.
Yeah, but Dwayne's going to be above him.
Just out of respect.
See,
right?
that's crazy to me. Like, they're the same type of player. Why have two guys like that in the top 20?
Well, we're going to find
Trucks,
out.
Really?
Well, I don't know if
Do you
they're
think
both in the top 20. That's what
got
James
something
said.
You know why I can't abide by that is because, like,
He's
Trucks
active.
Doesn't really like write shit. Like, he's not like
He's
never
not
had
an
a great
innovator.
band. Yeah, he's just a great player, but
Technically, but he's
Well,
not
he's
an
technically-
innovator.
yeah.
What's
Not
his
an-
fashion like?
Well, he's looking pretty stupid in this photo with like a paisley shirt and a ponytail.
I mean, he's an amazing guitar player, but he's never had a band where it's
Is
like, oh, that's a crazy,
we got
great
Bonamassa
song.
coming up still?
I'm not too sure. We got a guy coming up here, and this is interesting to me, this guy, because my cousin Johnny, maybe you met him, Mike, I don't know. Great blues guitarist.
Is Mayer and Bonamassa still on this list?
I can't tell you that yet.
Dude.
What we got?
Melmstein.
My cousin Johnny, great blues, taught me everything I know about blues.
Yeah.
Loves Clapton.
Is this a kind of Fight Club style scenario
Loves
where you
Clapton.
are Johnny?
No, his name's Johnny too. He also loves this guy. Always talk to me about him. Freddie King.
Isn't this Clapton? Didn't Clapton rip off both the Kings? Isn't that kind of his thing?
In his 1985 interview, Eric Clapton cited Freddie King's "I Love the Woman" as the first time I heard that electric lead guitar style with the bent notes that started me on my path.
Started me on my hate crime path.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, 14. I think we'd all agree this is a fine placement for this gentleman, David Gilmour.
I mean, I can't believe he's who's above these guys?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, he'd be in my top 10 too, but at least he's not 82 or something, you know.
Sure, yeah. I guess there's a lot of guitarists. Joni's going to be above because they have to put a woman in, so she's going to be
on the list,
top.
but she's like 90. No,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
There's got to be one girl in the top 10. When was this made? It might be pre.
I'm not sure,
it
but
might
if
be
I check
pre-woke.
that now, I'll never find this page.
Yeah,
again
it might be
'cause it's
pre-woke, so
ads and,
it's possible it's just going to be.
Albert King,
Yeah, okay.
13.
Sure.
Love him.
Robert Johnson.
Great player. Number 12, SRV.
Yeah.
12.
I was just going to say that.
He's 12?
Yeah. Yeah, he's 12.
This is a power top 10 coming up here, presumably.
Number 11, George Harrison.
I mean,
George. We all love George.
Beatles.
He's good.
Yeah, I've heard of
Signature
him.
style. Invented his kind of like...
Yeah, he has a style, for
He's
sure.
got a style.
Which I think is like...
Slide.
A lot of it is like if you've kind of... There was that great Jimmy Iovine interview where he said he's like the only difference between modern bands and bands I used to work with is that the guitarists used to all like sweat trying to figure out their own style. And I always thought it was really cool. And the more I think about that interview, the more I think it's real. Like, you know, where he's like, everyone, like, you know, I worked with like Springsteen, or I'd work with like Tom Petty, and like the guitarists would spend days trying to make their guitars sound different. And if you think about it like that, it's kind of cool because you're like, you know, like I guess like Mike Campbell sounds like Mike Campbell, even though you're like, oh, it's just the guitarist in the Heartbreakers, and obviously he's a higher esteem than that. It's kind of interesting. They really wanted to they only had the same amps and stuff. They didn't have all this pedals and shit. They were all like, I want to sound... Gibbons sounds like Billy Gibbons. No one sounds like him. He had his own fucking thing. It's cool.
100%. It's hard. And
you know what they did with him was he would record shit.
Yeah.
Then they put the overdub a little out of tune.
Yeah.
And
he had that little weird like kind of cave he'd record.
What do you
had
mean?
Like a cube.
They do it a little out of tune on purpose?
They could kind of spread it out.
Like double track it.
Yeah.
Double track it, but the second track would be like
so a bit of modulation to spread it out. Yeah.
Very cool.
And he had like famously like a kind of a cube. He'd record all these amps together going into the same space and stuff.
Oh, like a mic in the middle?
I guess, or something weird like
Very
that.
cool.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
My favorite ZZ album is Tejas. And
Me too.
You could totally feel that on that album because like every song almost has a different guitar tone, and even within songs there's all these different tones. Like he's using multiple.
You turn me on to Tejas, and that one, whenever I throw it on, you can't turn it off. It's so good, and I love how Stonesy it is. You really hear a lot of Keith, because he loved Keith, right? Gibbons, a big Keith guy. I've heard him talk about it a lot, and you really hear like On It's Only Love and those songs.
G. Lot of G.
Yeah, open G. A lot of like honky tonk woman Keith.
Yeah, well, Missing Keith's coming up, surely.
I hope so.
Yeah. Jimmy.
Pete Townsend, number 10.
Yeah, I mean, he would be in the top 10 if he hadn't diddled with kids.
Not in my top. He doesn't make my top 20, 30.
To me, that's like he's way higher, like 50s, 60s.
that's
maybe.
what
Yeah, I'd say so. He had a good windmill approach. It's fashion.
That
right?
stuff, I don't really think couldn't name you a solo. That,
Well,
like,
Jimmy
rips.
Page played them all.
Right, there you go. Number 9, here it is, Duane Allman.
Yeah. I mean...
What could have been.
What could have
had
been.
Clapton not intervened.
Exactly.
And tampered with his brakes on his motorcycle.
Exactly. Release the tapes.
Yeah. Tell the truth.
Yeah. I'm a bit
hoping on his
disappointed,
deathbed
actually.
he'll-
Me and Johnny were expecting you to, with the ZZ Top thing, to come with a dossier. We were saying, I was like, I'm not going to do any preparation today because Mike will come with a dossier, as if he's going to the UN to talk about ZZ Top.
Well, I think he knew in the case of the Eagles podcast he came on that
I was prepared for that
he
one.
needed to,
Not so much.
he needed
This
to
is
come
one of my
in,
favorite ones we've ever done. So I
He
don't-
needed to come in really hot on
Yeah.
that one because he knew he was going to be facing, a little bit of
Glenn,
adversity.
Yeah.
Don Henley's legal team.
Exactly.
Possibly.
100%. We got shut down. I don't know if you've experienced anything from Henley's legal team.
I get a lot
Personally.
of kickback from the Princeton. I've been trying
Really?
to spread the news
Okay,
about like
that
how
makes sense.
corrupt that band is.
Yeah.
Well, and have you heard it? Luke's been getting hate mail since our Aerosmith episode
Yeah.
from people who are apparently just worship Aerosmith, and they're like, "How fucking dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you call out the greatest American rock and roll band?" It's just shocking
The
stuff.
concern is that I don't know the difference between two records by them. That
I don't know. I just have the
could
Red
barely-
Greatest Hits CD.
big hits, yeah. It's
Yeah,
a good
or
record.
whatever.
That's
Big
the only
ones.
one I
Big
thought there
ones,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, big ones, big
And I'm
hits. I
quite
don't know what
familiar
it's
with the
called.
SSL console, but
Recorded on it, yeah.
number 8, Eddie Van Halen.
Sure, I mean, it's going to be a big...
He would have to be
He
top
has
10.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Kinks, the cover the Kinks did of his song.
yeah.
He really
know.
got me.
That was cool.
worked by
Well, they
them.
figured they needed to kind of get in
To the modern stuff,
so
yeah.
they were like, "We'll do that."
Yeah.
And it worked out pretty well for them. They got that documentary out of it, One for the Road.
Yeah, exactly.
Big
Huge.
big
Everyone
hit.
loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray kind of decided, I'm going to put the guitar down
Yeah.
and kind of put on like a tank top.
Yeah.
And kind of get out there and be a front man.
He's a Christian too, isn't he? He's a guy who got into Christianity late too, Ray, unfortunately.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Ray
He used
is?
to channel the fucking devil, you know what I mean? And now he's I guess I don't
Dave's
know.
religion is more like the local pub.
Ray's too. You always see him there.
Yeah. Number 7, Chuck Berry. I respect it. Innovator.
Yeah. Innovator in many different realms,
Talking.
frankly. He's certainly the first person to put... So he was really famous for farting on women. There's videos you can see on YouTube.
Didn't he also have that restaurant where he put a camera
he was an
in the
innovator. He was
toilet?
the first person to use kind of CCTV technology to look at women on the toilet. But a good guitarist, nonetheless.
Yes, he was. Is? Oh, he's dead, right?
I think he's alive.
B.B. King, number 6. Never loved his playing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's like Clapton. They're the two for me that
Yeah.
everyone, they're the greatest. Never got it. Never really got it.
I like that song he has, Don't Go Cutting Off Your Hair, which is about his girlfriend wanting to get short hair. He said, you're going to look like a man. Don't do it. I always like that song. Good blues on that.
I
That's
think
pretty
Clapton,
bluesy.
you got to go to like the live at the Albert Hall with Crossroads.
What
That's
about
solo.
live with
Pretty
Albert,
fucking good.
live at the Albert King, or riding with the King? So there's 3 kings that
And
Clapton
he took from each of them.
Yeah, he took their lives.
Okay, Crossroads solo. Let's get into this, okay?
Sure, buddy.
Sure.
Let's not get like super deep into it because I'm thinking I might get dinner in about 15.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I just mean the Crossroads solo. Sure, it's good, but when we're talking about, we mentioned a lot of great names tonight.
We're not even in the top 5.
And we know that Eric's going to be top 3 on this list.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if that one live solo, which I do enjoy, warrants that kind of placement. Like, you see him play.
Warrants,
What are you thinking?
I mean,
He does
Warrants
the same
should
kind
be
of
out for
moves
his
every
arrest.
time, I feel like, on the guitar. Like, he does his signature kind of licks.
Yeah.
He's not like a risk taker. I like a risk taker as a
Well, he is
guitar
in his
player.
personal life
Well-
as a murderer.
He definitely hasn't taken any risks since the fucking 80s, probably.
Well, since
like
he
late 70s. Like,
sabotaged the brakes on Duane Allman's truck.
Yeah. I mean, he would never.
Van Dyke Parks thinks he's made a couple of risky moves subsequently, such as throwing his child out of a window.
Van Dyke Parks went on Instagram the other day and shots fired at Clapton's.
He literally said that. He was like,
he
says
said,
the man who threw his kid out of a window.
I haven't respected the lad since he inadvertently allowed his child to stumble off a building. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Accusation. We'd like to get him on the podcast to kind of tell us about it.
I think we'd probably get him on at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that guy's got much to do right now.
No, well, because like Brian Wilson ain't writing any new songs.
Yeah.
Oh, Van Dyke, he's got stuff going on.
He's got a cool name.
Yeah, I put him in the same category as the Ramones.
Top 5.
Van Dyke Parks?
Yeah.
Stay out of it. This is a separate podcast. Top 5.
Yeah, I lost it because Rolling Stone keeps directing me to ads here.
You got, what is it, for Chevy or something?
It's everything.
Okay, well, Hendrix is number 1.
Now I'm going to let you guess, you guys. Number 5, okay?
Okay.
Jimmy Page.
No.
Okay, but you're... Okay, yeah, exactly. We
Hendrix
know
is
Hendrix is 1. We all know
Page
that.
will be 2.
Clapton might be
3.
2. Cobain's in the top 5. Is he not?
No, he's like 80.
St. Vincent. It depends when it was made.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. What? Okay, so you got...
Jeff Beck.
Beck's
one more and you got all 5, Mike. You've said nothing incorrect yet. You got one more and you got all 5.
Beck, Hendrix,
Page, Clapton, Beck.
Yeah. One more and you got it.
They got to let Robert Johnson. They got to let a black guy in. They have to.
Nope.
Don't.
Oh, I guess Hendrix is in, yeah.
Hold on.
Dig deep, buddy.
Eddie's gone.
Stevie's gone.
Okay, I'll tell you right now. It's number 4 that you haven't guessed. I won't tell you. Number 5 is Jeff Beck.
Oh, okay, so I think it... Okay.
Number 4, you have not guessed yet. Number 3 is Jimmy Page.
Satriani,
Really?
is it one of those
Clapton's
guys?
Number 2 is Eric Clapton.
No.
Yeah, he's managed.
And number 1, Jimi Hendrix. Number 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, Keith Richards.
Oh, of course.
Respect. I respect that, actually, yeah. That was there for us to... That was always there. Well, on that bombshell...
I'd just like to give a big thank you to all the rankers of the world.
I love
Rolling
it.
Stone, Pitchfork, because you provide us with a good half hour plus of podcast material.
And sometimes
week after week. And Mike, we'd like to have you back on possibly to do some rankings sometime.
Anytime.
I'd like you to show up with a piece of paper. We could pick something to rank. Anything
whiteboard.
Really. A whiteboard, and I'd love you to rank kind of your...
How long are you guys going to do the music thing for? Are you going to branch out and do...
We're thinking of switching over to
fashion.
I wouldn't mind doing one with you, James. Just all the parole hearings for Charles Manson.
That sounds good, yeah. Yeah.
I'll just run the board that day.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds good. Let's just call it there and consider that being episode like 200.
Thanks for coming in,
very
Mike.
much, Mike.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.